Hi, all, and welcome to Monday night's All Metal Mode podcast with Gypsy and myself, Amanda Digger-Degaz. Tonight we have special guest All Metal Militia. That's Jim Charuhas, which I know I just butchered, Kendall Edkins, and Ed Merrill. So before we get on with tonight's show, just a quick reminder, February's issue of Dirt Digest magazine is available now. Go to dirtdigestmagazine.com and you can see right off on the front page is the February issue. There's 2 amazing interviews, one with Gypsy and one with Bill Marsh. And then there's all different articles, a lot of new, if you're new to detecting, this is there's a bunch of articles on, Gypsy did one on different metal detecting accessories, beginning with your detector and how to learn, the new things there. And yeah, it's all around great online magazine that's done monthly. And just go check it out, dirtdigestmagazine.com. So, all right, on to the show. Hey, Gypsy, how are you?
Hey, Amanda, I'm doing great. It's been beautiful weather here, and I hear you're in the middle of a storm, and it's turning into a blizzard.
Yeah, a little bit.
So I take it you haven't been out.
Yeah, that would be correct. I have not gotten out. This past weekend we were in the negatives. I think the real feel was -9. And it was cold. I had to go out and tend to the chickens and, that outside stuff to get ready for the snowstorm. And I forgot my gloves at one time, was out there for maybe 5-10 minutes, and my fingers hurt so bad. So, yeah, no, I have not gotten out treasure hunting. I did play around with some more of the display cases, and yeah, that's about it. But I did see you've gotten out.
I did. Let's see. I think I've gotten out twice since last week. Had I gotten out with Mike and my friend Zola and them yet? I can't even remember.
No, you were headed out early last Monday to go meet up with Mike.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. So we got to go dig at a location that was an old Civil War reunion, Confederate reunion camp, and I think it's been hit probably many times by other detectorists, but we did all manage some pretty cool finds. I actually got a gold cufflink that I was super excited about when I saw that gold rim there. It's small, similar, I guess, to the one. No, yours were different shape. Which ones did you get at the button down? They were kind of octagonal, weren't they? Or am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, they were octagon shaped. Or hexagonal.
Wow. Hexagonal, yeah. Well, anyway, it was kind of oval shape, just one. But I was super excited about that. And I just love gold. As soon as you wipe it, it's just like, there's just no mistaking when you get gold.
Yes.
It's the only thing that comes out of the ground, that's just so perfect and pure. And then, anyway, Mike got an amazing lock, a big, beautiful brass railroad lock. And he actually found it with the apex. He was like, hey, did you bring an extra one? I said, yeah, I brought my extra apex. So he was using the one with the small coil for a while, the 5x8, and I think he fell in love. I had a hard time prying it from his hand. And he, found a beautiful railroad lock, and let's see, and then I guess you would say that our friend, which is sometimes on Tuesday night, All Metal Mode, Dennis had the in my opinion, one of the finds of the day. He ended up getting a Barber $50 in beautiful condition. And he let me finish it. After he had it in the plug, he's like, "Here, listen to it." So I listened to it with my Apex, and my mouth just flew open. I was like, "You just can't ask for a more pure signal." It was just beautiful. So I kind of figured it was going to be a $50 or a $1 silver coin, and sure enough. Anyway, yeah, and then I got out yesterday. Sorry, I'm chatting this up. We've got several guests tonight, but it was great to get out several times in 1 week. I got out twice, and I went digging with my buddy Theron. Theron hasn't been detecting, not even, I don't think, a year yet. He's brand new to the hobby, and he has the Garrett AT Pro. And he's been researching in the area. He has a book that he loaned me on a local area not too far from us, and I haven't started reading the book yet. I just haven't had a chance yet, but I definitely will because it has some amazing history. And anyway, part of the area is along a local river, and the river has this swimming beach on it, and it's been, I really don't know how long people have been swimming there, but we found so many coins we couldn't even, we lost count. I lost count. I haven't totaled my coins yet. But I ended up with 2 rings. Theron ended up with 1 ring, and we have another guy that joined us. He's 16 years old, just got his license, just able to drive. He's been in my dump, the dump video that you probably just watched. I think you watched it today.
Yeah, blue bottle dump.
Yeah. I actually met him metal detecting. Actually, I was dump digging, and he was metal detecting after I was coming up from the river at a park. And I talked to him, and we became friends. And anyway, he joined us at this swimming area, and he ended up getting two gold rings.
Ooh.
So, anyway, lucky little guy. He was so excited. He was just over the moon.
I'm sure.
It's wonderful to see kids like him. He's a year younger than my youngest son, so it's awesome to see kids into the hobby so much, and the excitement that it brings, and it gets them out in the air, gets them exercising and out in nature. And we were finding fossils and all kinds of goodies. So we had a blast. Anyway, that's pretty much it. So anyway.
Nice. Sounds like you've been busy.
I've been very busy. So let's bring in our special guest tonight. We have 3 special guests. I'll let you go ahead and introduce if you like.
All right. Everybody give a warm welcome to All Metal Militia. And Kendall, do you want to tell us a little bit about the All Metal Militia and how you all got together?
Yeah, sure. Hey, Gypsy. Hey, Amanda. Nice to be on with you guys.
Nice having you.
Thanks for being here.
Gypsy, you've been busy. Up here in New England, we're snowlocked right now. We are just...
I don't envy. I feel bad. I feel bad that you're having that terrible weather, but I do watch y'all's videos, and it's great to have y'all on tonight. So, Kendall, how have when did the group actually formed, All Metal Militia?
All Metal Militia formed a little over 2 years ago. I was kind of doing my own thing, detecting. I was still pretty solo. I wasn't doing a lot of Facebook stuff, and I happened to bump into Ed, and Ed said, "Hey, let's start digging together." So we started digging. I got introduced to Jim and some other folks, and we were just hammering the ground up here 2 springs ago, just hitting cornfields and cellar holes, and we all just really clicked, I guess you could say. So we started talking about doing something a little bit more, making some videos, starting a Facebook group, and kind of just trying to bring the hobby out to more people around here and I guess all over everywhere.
Well, that's great. So, Kendall, before you met up with them, how long had you been digging?
I've probably been detecting 5 or 6 years. I started with some pretty beginner equipment, and I didn't do it all that much because I got frustrated. I didn't have friends in the hobby. But about 3 years ago, I bought a used Safari, and I started finding stuff. And then that kind of changed, and ever since then, these last 3 years, I've been pretty obsessed with the hobby. I think Ed and Jim and I probably go out at least, when it's nice out, once a week, sometimes more together, and we just hit it hard.
That's great.
That's awesome, Kendall. So why don't we hop on over to Jim? Jim, how did you get into the hobby, and what machine did you start out with?
Well, I got into the hobby by watching some of the first YouTubers, 10 plus years ago, and started really paying attention, and just it's like, wow, this is something that I've been looking for my whole life to do, and I eventually got enough money together, and I bought an AT Pro, and I used that for a good 6 years, and just mostly, kind of like Kendall by myself, and wasn't really paying attention to the Facebook, or I would just, the videos I paid attention to quite a bit, and just kept going. And then when I first started going with a group of people, it made it that much easier, to know there was others out there that were really into it,
Wow, yeah. So, Jim, was there a certain thing that you found when you first got started that just really hooked the hobby for you?
Yeah, well, I was pretty. At first, I was pretty enamored, that I was able to learn the machine and start really producing, and that's, it took a while, and it was, obviously frustration, and digging, still dig trash all the time, and but that, just kept persistent. And I was down, we have that Connecticut River here that divides Vermont, New Hampshire, and did a lot of detecting on some picnic areas, and then further down there's some fields, and just go out for an hour or two, and I found I think the first really neat thing I found was a gold pocket watch that was engraved down near the river, where a farmer, where somebody, you still had the leather strap broken on it, and it was really great shape. And so that was like one of the. I just remember running home and showing my wife. I'm like, look at this. I'm like, so immediately the history and everything. So then it was all, finding cool stuff, but also finding something that, that leads to something, some history, or leads to somebody you could, give it back to or whatever. the history part of it just grabbed me hard, and I just really enjoyed that part of it. Still, that's what keeps me going to this day, is just researching something once you find it and what have you.
Right.
So
once you dig an object that you can really start to research and get into the history, that's pretty much what pulled me into it is the history. Like yesterday, I enjoyed finding the modern rings and stuff, but there is one item that I did find that I've cleaned up, and turns out it's got a lot of history, and so I can't wait to show all of that in my next video. So how long have y'all been doing the videos again? When did you start how long was it again?
How long was it doing
when
the
y'all
videos?
started making videos, yeah, as a group.
We had made several for a couple of years, and then we kind of reformed our group and refined our group, and to the three of us. And Kendall made a video last year, and we've all had different we all have different experience making videos. It's kind of progressed into what we're doing now. We've all had history making videos for quite a while, but trying to really focus on All Metal Militia and then doing stuff on what we find is
Right.
We're waiting for warm weather, we're waiting for some stuff, and we've got stuff. It's just we're waiting for the the right time
Right.
to get it together and everything. The TV show that we did, I mean, that was huge.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing. That was the biggest thing we've ever done. So we've put a lot of focus and effort into that.
Yeah, we definitely need to talk more about the TV show too. I know that Amanda had a question though. I know we've had Ed on here, but I know Amanda probably has a few questions for Ed real quick.
Sure, Ed. I know you've gotten out quite a bit. Actually, all three of you have gotten out quite a bit this last year. I know we've had you on, obviously, like Gypsy said, in the past, but what do you think was your favorite find from this last year? And for those that actually didn't get to listen to you on the show prior, do you want to give a little backstory on yourself as well?
Sure. So yeah, I mean, history is just kind of in my blood. I mean, that started back in elementary school. I was fortunate enough to grow up in a small, little town in Vermont where there was I had a teacher in elementary school that used to study. He actually moved his family from, I believe, down the Connecticut area up into Vermont, and he fell in love with the town. And he was a history nut, so he started doing a bunch of history research and everything, and just a natural storyteller. And we used to look forward to every Friday in elementary school because that was story time. And what he would do, and when we were that age, we didn't realize what he was doing. We just knew that his stories were interesting. But what he actually did was he was instilling knowledge into us through his stories about the history of the town that we lived in. And over time, it just kind of stirred in me. I just loved history. I loved museums, anything that was old. And I always tried to imagine, and I still do to this day, try to imagine what it was like, back when, whether it's 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 1,000 years ago, and just try to put myself in that atmosphere, which I think adds to the passion of metal detecting and actually being able to go out and find relics from way back when. I think it was about 10 years ago now that well, KG and Ringy were big. We were watching. I watched them even prior to metal detecting and everything. And my parents decided to get me I wish I could remember the model of it. I really can't because I didn't have it long. And I bumped up to Fisher products and everything. But it was a bounty hunter. And I had a friend of mine one time. And I had this thing out back. It was just collecting dust. And I didn't think anything of, tying the two together. And a friend of mine one time said, "Hey, let's go out and try it." So, I went and I dug it out of storage and we went out, and my first find ever was a wheat penny. Or a wheat cent. So, right then and there, I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool." But he had I think he had an Ace 350, and he was just, he was smoking me out of the hole. Like he was finding stuff left and right and everything. I'm like, yeah, it's time for an upgrade. So I bumped up to an F4 and then later on an F75, and it just took off from there. And then we started finding things. I got so into it that even prior to All Metal Militia, I was trying to run a little group on the side. And that's kind of what got my feet wet in social media and doing group hunts and meeting people. And I've lost track. I've met hundreds of people through metal detecting over the years. And I used to take groups into Vermont, where I grew up, along the Connecticut River Valley. And, we used to do group hunts and make days of it and have barbecues right there on the edge of the river and just go out and find stuff and talk about it. And that's what it was. So
Awesome.
I've been pretty neck deep into the hobby for quite some time now. And it's getting more and more interesting as we go. And now with, Kendall and Jim, we're tickled pink with all the opportunities that we're getting, and the opportunities of actually going out and going to some of these places around here that they're just producing, and we're doing very well with it.
Very cool.
That's fabulous. Very cool story. Do you have a question for him or for them?
Sure. I saw a pretty awesome find on the video I posted in chat for everyone to see for the first episode of the River Valley relic hunting. So Ed, I saw, your exciting moment that turned out to be, pretty much a bummer. Did you go out and buy a Megabucks ticket after?
Oh yeah. I'm always doing that, and unfortunately, when it gets up to $1 billion, obviously I didn't win, but it's still pretty cool to. Any find is a good find, and it just happened to be a moment that was, one of our first times with the TV crew there, and I when I said I was a little bit embarrassed to tell people what I actually had, I was just like, oh man, like. It's horrible, but it was a good moment, and
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, same signal. I've gotten the same signal before, and yeah, I've gotten a main one. So, but Ken, you found a pretty amazing artifact, though, that was pretty exciting.
Yeah, I did. One of many this year, actually. I had a pretty great year this year, but that one was especially special for me. It was the only thing that I actually got an opportunity to return. We were hitting the yard. We had kind of had a slow day, as you see in the video. We'd had a couple decent relics, and we were having fun. But I dug that silver World War II bracelet. And that was pretty cool by itself. But then we actually met with the homeowner and figured out who it belonged to, and found a picture of that guy as an 18-year-old or so in 1941. The photo said, as they enlisted in the U.S. Navy. I don't want to give the whole thing away because I hope people watch the video. But that was pretty special.
Very special. I loved how y'all connected it to the history and to the person. So if y'all haven't had a chance to go watch that, be sure and watch that. Again, Amanda put it in chat a link to the video, and it's just amazing, really amazing story there. And I like the photographs too. I just loved being able to connect, with the photographs to the history, the local history, and it was just an amazing story. So, sorry I didn't interrupt you there.
No, and it was crazy because it was one of the very last photographs that the homeowner pulled out of this big shoebox. I mean, she had 4 or 5 of these shoeboxes just full
tons
of
photos.
And one of the very last ones, she exclaimed, "Bobby Welch, Robert Welch, here he is." And there he was, 1941, enlisting into the U.S. Navy. And then we found that silver bracelet that had his name on it. It was, the hairs on my arms are standing up right now just remembering it. It was really, really special.
Oof. Definitely. Now, is that how many episodes have y'all made with the TV station?
We have 3 episodes now. Episode 2 and 3 kind of got slowed down by the whole COVID thing.
Right.
We expected to have both of those out by the new year. But with COVID, everything just got way slowed down. So we're hoping those will be out soon. And then we've got a second season planned starting as soon as the snow melts here to do another, 8 episodes or so, we hope. We'll see how it plays out.
Wow. That's awesome.
Now, Jim, sorry.
The next 2 episodes should be good. We were on 2 great spots here in the Connecticut River Valley. We found some pretty cool stuff, and the folks who are producing it are it's just a little community television station here in Vermont, but they're doing a fantastic job. We're really happy with it, and we're glad that we're getting that out to our local community.
Yeah, that's really wonderful when you can work with your local community directly like that, and they can see how you're really trying to get out there and preserve history and connect it to the local history, and then also be able to give back to the homeowners like y'all did in the one episode. I think that it really speaks in volumes for our hobby and what we're all trying to do. So kudos to all of you on that and how you're representing. I think it's fabulous, really good, great work.
Now, Jim, you do more than just metal detecting, and I know you and I have some of the same passions as Gypsy and stuff. So I know bottle dump digging is big for you, correct?
Oh yes, yeah, I do enjoy that. I do enjoy that. I kind of got into that. I got into that from metal detecting. The metal detector came first, and some of the properties, the local properties that I started detecting, I would talk to the people in the area that have lived in the area a long time. I originally grew up in Vermont, live in New Hampshire now, so even only a few miles away, it's so funny how you don't know everybody. You learn so much on a street or what have you for history. So I, started detecting some different lawns and stuff. And one particular neighbor told me, back when they were kids, they're 50, 60 years old now, about a particular place to dig. And that, that they, as kids, they would go down there and dig stuff up. And I'm like, wow. I'm into that, digging up stuff, bottles and everything. So I remember the first couple of times I went down there, I was just blown away because it was so much and so big of a dump that I didn't even know what to do. Okay, what am I going to do? So I just started off walking and going, just walking through the place and observing everything around me, and started digging around. And I started finding some old stuff and, putting a shelf up downstairs and collecting that. And now I'm in over my head with that as well. Haven't had a lot of opportunities to dig bottles recently, but mostly small areas, small house dumps. And the metal detecting takes up a lot of time too, so I've been focusing a lot on that. But I enjoy the heck out of it. It's the same deal as metal detecting. It's you find you work really hard, you learn, you work hard, and you dig a lot of junk, and then all of a sudden you find your first gem in the rough. You find that, and then the passion just starts burning to go find more.
Right.
So,
do you have a favorite jump find or bottle, or a favorite find that you found in the dump?
Cool. Yeah, thousands. I mean, I got to a point. One year I did a lot more bottle digging than I did metal detecting, and I think what really got me started in the bottles was, instead of coming home with a pocket full of change or bottle caps, I was coming home with boxes of bottles. So
tell them how many bottles you have in your collection, Jim.
I get it. Yeah, I got a 2,500 square foot basement, and it's full, and most of it's on shelves. Yeah, it's not. I'm not talking boxes. I'm talking shelves. I'm very passionate about medicine bottles, local pharmacy bottles with names. Could be anywhere in New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine. I got to get more in. I'm trying to force myself to getting into cataloging, so I'm not getting the same stuff all the time. For medicine bottles at towns, I probably got 3,000 pharmacy bottles with different town names and stuff. It gets to the point where I don't even remember if I have it or not. But as far as dump digging and dump finds, I had one year, not this year. Well, yeah, actually the beginning of 2020, I hit a dump really hard. I got laid off from work, and I decided that I was going to metal detect and bottle dig every day. That I could, and I did it for a few weeks, and it got to the point where I'd take a couple of days off because I was getting, I was sore. I couldn't even move. And
I know that.
A lot of local,
I'm sore from yesterday.
Yeah, a lot of local stuff. Vermont bottles, Vermont soda bottles, milk bottles. The most expensive stuff. I mean, the most valuable stuff that I've found is probably soda bottles. I found, I don't know, 2 or 3 over the years. 1927, large size, 26-ounce orange crush bottles, and they're green.
Oh, green.
They made them 1 year. Yeah, they made them 1 year in the large, crinkle style bottles. And, it's Art Deco looking. And this large and the small, I've got 3 large ones over the last 10 years and 1 small one. And at one point, 15 years ago, those bottles were going $700-800 a piece. And now they're probably like $400 a piece.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, those are cool. You know, I would take my mountain bike and ride down a particular old farm road and ditch it and go into the prickers and everything else, and just start finding bottles. You know.
How do you carry your bottles back? You just put them in a backpack, or?
Yeah, backpack, newspaper, towels. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I learned. Yeah, the first year or so, I was just throwing them in a backpack and hoping for the best, and they'd get bruised or something in my back. I mean, the backpack would be like 60 pounds full. Yeah, and I'm going like way down into ravines where there's cars and big dumps, and
wow.
Some of my best areas. But I think after 10 years, I've done a lot of craters. I'll get out pretty good. But
that's awesome. Well, boy, do you do sifting as well in these dumps, or any sifting?
There's one dump that's in northern New Hampshire. The dump is on this river, and it's a turn-of-the-century dump, and we did some sifting one day there, and that was a lot of river rock mixed in and stuff, and I'll tell you what, that's hard work, especially the way I was doing it. I didn't have a table sifter. I had a handheld one, and my friend would fill it up and kind of put it halfway in the water and kind of shake it out. And
right.
Didn't find a lot doing that. It was just kind of it was hard work. It wasn't easy at all. But I did eyeball. That same day, I eyeballed an Indian head and a wheat cent side by side. I eyeballed it at the bottom of the river. It was about ankle to knee high, and I thought that's something I haven't been able to repeat lately, but
Hey, Jim, sorry to interrupt you, but Gypsy and Amanda, do you guys do a lot of sifting at your dumps? I've been kind of interested in sifting myself lately, and I'd love to hear what your system is.
I've used at several dumps. The local dump that I go to that's the closest to me, I have not sifted yet in it. I mainly just dig really slow. That way I try to find the small things, the coins and the other stuff. But this summer when the dirt is really dry, that's probably when I will bring a sifter to that particular dump. Now, sometimes it's just hard to bring in a sifter to certain areas. So what I have been doing recently is I have one of the Garrett classifiers that comes, like if you get a gold painting kit and it has a classifier in it, it's real easy to sift with that. You can stick it in your backpack or on the back of your backpack or attach it like if you're doing like Jim, riding your bicycle down. You can attach it easy to carry. It's so lightweight. Another thing I did once, if you go back into my videos, way back when I first started my videos, I actually took to one local dump. I took it's a cat litter box. Of course, I bought a new one. Yeah. Anyway, it's a cat litter box, and I drilled holes in the bottom, and then I hot glued or super glued a magnet in the center. So the magnet kind of helps, with any kind of nails and other things that are in there. So it makes for a really, easy, little lightweight sifter either way, with either one of those. Now, Amanda, I know that on one of her places, I'll let her tell you, I don't know if she can actually sift there because it's just probably too wet, but you tell them, Amanda. Sorry.
Are you talking the button dump?
No, I was actually thinking about your mudlarking area, but
Oh, yeah, no, I do something different at the different mudlarking spots that I do that basically the water is on the dump. So it's tidal and the water comes up onto where the dump is, and instead of sifting, I swish. So I'll scrape the surface and then basically make the water, kind of swish your hand over it so it clears the mud and silt. So I have found quite a bit that way at multiple different locations, just using the water to my benefit of, being able to get that silt and whatnot off the items. I do have a sifter as well. I have tried to use it in a couple locations. It just hasn't been right. It was either incredibly dry, so it was like blowing dust in your face, like dusted dirt / dump follicles, or it was too wet. So yeah, the sifting hasn't worked for me, but the swishing, especially in the different creeks that I do creek walking and whatnot as well, you find it's pretty cool. And Gypsy, I'm pretty sure you did that in Texas too when you went out with Garen, right? Don't you swish?
Yeah, we swish, and then sometimes what we do, you could even take a gold pan, for that matter, and swish it around and get rid of, some of that debris like that, and find some of your smaller items that way. But yeah, what we did is we would take like a board or a big rock in the river there, and we would take a shovelful, and we would just pile it up on the rock or the piece of wood, and then we would take water and splash it and swish it on top, and it would, push down all the other stuff and leave the good stuff. Well, some rocks, of course, that, you could throw those off there, but we found a lot of stuff that way as well. And it was a little easier, actually, than trying to sift sometimes.
Yeah, I was going to say it sounds a lot like panning. We pan sometimes. Vermont was the #1 gold producing state in the Union before the westward expansion. There's a lot of gold here. We like to get out and pan, and we mostly find placer gold. But it sounds like you guys are kind of doing a similar thing.
Yeah. In our case, we're probably not going to find any gold, or I'm not. Here in Texas, there's only one river there's any gold in. It's mainly gold flecks. But I seem to recall, Kendall, you finding a big chunk of gold. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. That was funny because we weren't looking for gold. We were looking for relics. We got this really cool permission up in the mountains of Vermont. Really nice lady let us come, and we hit the yard and the surrounding properties all day, and we didn't find much. It turned out that there was a lot of fill, but we didn't want to get discouraged. So I think it was Ed who said, "Hey, what about this field here along the side of your house?" And she said she owned it, and so we went out. We weren't finding much out there, and then I got this mid-tone. I swing a Deus now, so it was like, a mid-button tone, absolutely diggable. And I pulled out what I thought was just one of those ubiquitous blobs of lead. And then I wiped it, and I was like, it's shiny. It's kind of golden and shiny. So I called Ed over, and I said, Ed, is this gold? And he was kind of awestruck, and we wiped it off and rinsed it with water, and it was a big blob of gold, it looked like. So 4 gold tests later, I'm calling my different friends who I know have gold test kits, because I don't have one, going can I borrow your gold test kit? I think I just found a big chunk of gold. Turns out it was an 18-gram gold nugget.
Amazing.
Pretty unbelievable.
Incredible. That is. I can imagine y'all just sitting out there and trying to figure out, is this gold or not? Because I dig plenty of those blobs, like you say. Usually it's a melted aluminum or, like lead. but I'm sure that has some weight to it too, in your hand. So that probably y'all were sitting there like, is this gold? I bet it was a sight to see y'all figuring out if that was gold or not.
Yeah, I couldn't even comprehend it. It was heavy and it was shiny and it was yellow, but my brain said, this cannot be a blob of gold, or this cannot be a gold nugget. But it turned out that it was. And I had a difficult moral, ethical conversation with myself about whether I should talk to the landowner and tell him what I found.
Yeah. How did that go?
Well, I did. I felt like that was the right thing to do. We always want to represent our hobby and what we do in the right way. And I felt like I can't just not tell her. So I told her, and believe it or not, she let me keep it. I'm wearing it around my neck right now. I had it made into a necklace, and I wear it every day.
That's incredible. What a story. Yeah, I've found that most of the landowners will, they will let you keep those finds, I guess occasionally you get someone that might be cantankerous or something, I don't know, that might get, once they see gold or anything worth a lot of money, then, they see dollar signs, but that's really amazing that she let you keep it. And yeah, I think I would be wearing that on my neck for good luck all the time.
Yeah, well, I did end up giving her the George Washington button that I found the next trip out. She said, you can keep that one, but why don't you come back? And if you find any more, we split it 50-50. So Ed and Jim and I went back out and went back to that field, and we didn't find any more gold. But at the end of the day, I dug a GW12, so the eagle button.
Oh, boy. That's incredible. Now, haven't all three of you found some GW buttons? Is that?
Yeah, that's true. I've found two, and Jim has found two. And if you haven't seen Ed's video, and he should probably tell you about it.
Oh, yes.
Ed found a really nice one, and it's a great video, and I was really fortunate to be part of that and to be there when he did.
Yeah, Ed, you want to tell us about your bucket lister find that we're all drooling over? All of y'all have been lucky enough to find one, but can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, sure. Hopefully my phone, I was off the phone for a little bit there, but I was listening to the show and trying to keep up with everything. But the wind is howling and the lights flicker, this storm is pretty brutal up here right now, and we're getting the heart of it, I think. But yeah, I mean, that George Washington button, I mean, everybody that knows me and that's ever dug with me or watched, the videos that I do, they all know, like, my number one find would be a barber quarter. I still to this day have not found one. I don't know why. But I mean, the last thing in the world that I ever thought I would find before a barber quarter was a George Washington button. And, the day started off, Kendall and I were chatting the night before, and I said, well, I know this area that, I've hunted. I'm an outdoorsman. I go hunting up in the woods, and I've run into a couple cellar holes along the way, and we just never ventured up there. So, we were looking for a spot, and I said, why don't we head up there? I said, I'll take the truck up and go as far as we can go, and, we can walk on foot the rest of the way if we need to, and just, follow the trails. And, I mean, up here, any old trail usually leads to something. And that's what we did. And the day it was absolutely brutal for finds. It wasn't what we really weren't finding a whole lot. And then Kendall pulled out an amazing, it was, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kendall, it was a 1st Regiment artillery button from 1812 at one of the first sites Yeah, from one of the first sites that we had stopped at for that day. And I mean, there's a lot of time in between those finds during that time. And, you know, it was just kind of like we thought, all right, well, maybe this is the pivotal point of the day. And, you know, the days it got slow again. So we started working our way out. And I said, well, there was this one spot on the way up that we actually drove by. I said, why don't we just stop there and poke around and see what happens? If there's nothing there, you know, we can call it a day. So we stopped there. And I mean, we were probably the only there for 5 minutes. And one of the first things, I know Kendall does the same thing. One of the first things that we do when we get to any site is we check around the cellar hole itself. You know, if you're finding artifacts or coins or anything like that, you know, around that cellar hole, there's a good chance that nobody's been there with a metal detector. And I mean, it was Kendall, probably 5 minutes in, and I found a beautiful Connecticut copper. And, you know, that just made my day right there. I was like, oh my God, this is great. I don't care if I find anything else the rest of the day. This is a beautiful coin. You know, it was well worth the effort. And that was that. And so we started digging some more. And I think I had just pulled up a pewter spoon bowl and some other stuff. And, you know, a lot of trash, bullets, of course, from all the hunters over the years. And then we moved off. We kind of had an idea because the cellar hole wasn't really defined. I mean, we could tell there was something there, but it looked like maybe it had been filled in at a time, or it just wasn't one of those dug out big cellar holes that we typically see. And we just started kind of working our way to what we thought might be like a side yard. It looked like there was some activity over there with some stonework and whatnot. And, you know, we were just discussing, you know, how it was odd that we weren't finding any flat buttons or cuff buttons or, you know, anything. And I just happened to pop open the plug that, you know, we were digging, and Kendall was off to my left digging the hole. And so I started filming, of course, and I was just telling everybody, like, I was just talking to Kendall because it was weird. I was just talking to him about not finding any buttons, and literally my next target, I popped open a button. And, you know, I was just thinking it was a dandy button, you know, and it just looked like a large dandy button. It had the same, it was, you know, 100 times, or I'd even say 1,000 times before, you know, when you see a button that size, it's just a typical flat, big old dandy button. And I turned it over slowly because I always do that, because in my mind, I'm always thinking maybe it's something better, but I'm always disappointed if I flip it over real quick and it's not. And I mean, when I saw that GW just staring back at me, my heart dropped. And I will be 100% honest. There's a lot of footage. Kendall kind of kicked me a little bit. He's like, you should have left it all in there. There's a lot of footage of me kind of geeking out. You know, I literally just kind of blacked out, and I'm very fortunate. I'm very happy that I decided to do videos and things, and because it allows me to relive moments with these guys, and very special moments. And that's one video that, you know, I have a chance to go back to and just kind of relive that moment. And it's just a moment I'll never forget. I mean, 10 years, I've seen people do it. It's like winning the lottery. You know, you don't expect it to happen to you. And then when it does, I mean, I sincerely wish that everybody that's in this hobby and that has been in this hobby, you know, for a long time, and they have whatever their bucket lister is, you know, I really hope that they have an opportunity to feel that feeling, because I don't think there's any way to explain it. Only to the ones, you can only talk about it to the ones that actually have had that moment. And, you know, it's a feeling like none other, and it fuels that fire. And I might go the rest of my life and never find another one, you know. And I know there's some people out there that find pretty amazing stuff, and they have 5, 6, 7, you know, George Washington buttons and whatnot or more. And but I mean, the chances of you know, finding multiple in a career of metal detecting, you know, from all the stories I've heard from the old timers, you know, it's almost next to impossible. And to be able to say that we each, I mean, between the three of us, we have 5 within the last couple of years. I mean, we're just very fortunate to live in an area that has this kind of history. And I mean, literally any dooryard, anybody's fields, backwoods, anything. I mean, literally anywhere up here in New England, there's stuff in the ground, and we're just very fortunate to be able to find these places and pull out these relics.
Right. You're so, I'm so jealous that all of you live, northeast, and you're up there where all these older relics are. And man, that's why hopefully this year we'll all be able to do more traveling. I know Ed, we've been talking about for a while trying to get together and go do some detecting and videoing. And I was even talking to Amanda again tonight before we called y'all in, and I was talking to Peter Sorrell that's in chat tonight. Been trying to plan a trip up there for so long, and Amanda and I just we haven't given up hope yet. It's just with COVID and everything, it's just been really tough, and then now kind of waiting on the weather too. So hopefully not much longer, and we can plan that trip. But for me, I don't even have to dig anything so epic. I just want to dig a largie when I go up there. So.
Yeah, well, if you spend some time up here with us, I mean, there's a good possibility of that. I mean, we've, at least for me, and I know the other guys have just as a wide of a selection of or variety of a collection. I mean, 10 years for me of metal detecting. I mean, I have more stuff than I know what to do with, and with large scents and things like that, it's always awesome to find, but, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's a largie, it's cool, it's great. I wish it was a Fujio, or, I wish it was a tree coin, or, but there's still plenty of them up here to be found.
Digging Indians here, I mean, although I love digging Indians, it's just, and silver, we get, silver mercs, silver barbers, all of that, but it's just, seeded is just rare here, and yeah.
I think it's amazing to be able to see what, because, being part of the digging community for quite some time, and then social media bringing us together, and, different groups, and going on different hunts and sharing stories and everything. It's really cool to just be able to, you can kind of get a map in your mind, if you will, about relics and coins. And I mean, you can kind of figure out where people were, what was happening, and, what they left behind by the things that we find. And you can visualize, a detectorist can visualize basically a relic map in their mind about, like, how far north, can you go before you stop finding, relic A, or how far south can you go before you stop finding relic B. And, it's just really cool to see the differences between different regions of what people actually find and what they're looking for.
Absolutely.
It is. It really is. Because it really does change. And when I first got started in the hobby, for me it was, I did, started doing mainly beach hunting, but yet, even though I love beach hunting, it was all new shiny objects. So I love the history. So that's why for me it's always been wonderful to get to travel and anyway and see
that's one of
other areas. Go ahead.
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons why too. Like I've upgraded this last year. I upgraded to an Equinox. It was between a Deus and an Equinox for me, and what sold me was the Equinox and what people are doing on the beach. And of course, I grew up in Vermont. I live in New Hampshire, and New Hampshire has everything from mountains to coastline. And seeing Jim go down there from time to time, metal detecting and things like that, and knowing in the winter, we don't always. I try to promise people we're going to get out as much as we can in the winter time, but like when you have a winter like this, it's next to impossible. But that my next trip out might be to a beach, and upgrading to the Equinox 800 was it's going to allow me to be able to experience that. I might not like it, I don't know yet, but it's going to be something that I'll be able to try, which is really cool. And that's another great part about living where we live is we have so many different options up here that, you know, you literally could dig you all year long. It's just a matter of where you go.
That's awesome.
And you might have to put some miles on your vehicle.
Yeah, you gotta drive our vehicles. I mean, I've been working from home since last March, and I mean, it's good for the vehicle knowing that, you know, I'm not putting on all those miles. It's going to stay newer longer, but you gotta ride it. You gotta take it out once in a while and put some miles on it. So it'll be a good welcoming feeling to be able to travel, you know, further than 20 miles away. So I'm looking forward to doing some trips this summer.
Yeah, we would love.
Go ahead, Kendall.
I was going to say we'd love to have you guys up here to New England. I mean, I think the last time I saw Amanda was the Patriot Dig 2 years ago in Connecticut, which was a real fun time. Gypsy we've met, but I don't think we've ever really dug together. So it'd be great. Come on up to New England. We'd love to get out with you guys. It's always fun to hear the show, and you guys find some great stuff, and it'd be great to hang out.
It'd be a blast.
Yeah, definitely.
I got to meet some of you at the hunt in New York, but hopefully this year we'll be able to plan some trips and get y'all's way. Speaking of that, what shows and what things do y'all have planned for this year?
So I'm actually I was very fortunate to meet somebody that she has this beautiful piece of land. And the first time that I was there, you know, me and Kendall and Jim were, you know, we had been talking and bouncing the idea around about doing an event for our own. I mean, we're running the All Metal Militia page, Facebook page, and you know, we have Instagram, all that stuff. And you know, it's nice to be able to. We're always doing giveaways. I mean, we're probably averaging three or four giveaways a month, maybe 2 or 3, I'd say. But we're trying to pay it forward as we become very fortunate with different opportunities and stuff. You know, we want to pay it forward and, you know, give back to the community and everything, because that's what got us started. So we're always trying to think of different things to, you know, to give away or to just encourage people to really get into the hobby and really respect it and just keep moving forward. And with that said, you know, one of the things that we want to do is put together a charitable hunt, you know, where we pick a local charity, and all proceeds will go to that charity. And when I met this lady, you know, we had started talking about stuff. I told her how beautiful the property was and everything. And she just so happens to have events there herself for weddings and, you know, for photography and things like that. Like people come up and take pictures and prom pictures and so on and so forth. So she's very familiar with that atmosphere. So her and I have been talking, and we became very good friends over the last year and discussing, you know, the different opportunities that we can do. I've been there numerous times metal detecting, and Jim and Kendall both have been there with me. And we've literally just started talking about, you know, what it would look like, you know, the next 8-9 months, or not even that long, but, well, you know, it would be that long because we're thinking maybe September, putting together a hunt with All Metal Militia, and, you know, whatever we make, donating it to a local charity, like I said. So with that, we're starting to put together the pieces. It's going very slow. Peter Sherrill, I mean, I feel for you, man, if you're listening. Doing something small scale like this is a lot of work. I can't imagine doing something like dig stock. But it's fun, and it's what's keeping us motivated to continue to do more. And so hopefully, you know, to anybody that's on our Facebook page, or if they decide to join our Facebook page, hopefully very soon we'll be starting to post some details about that. And we're just kind of ironing out, you know, the bumps and what we need to do, especially with COVID and everything that's going on. We have to play it by ear, but, it is in the works and things are starting to come together. So hopefully very soon we'll be able to announce, a hunt that AMM is going to be putting on in September up here.
Fantastic.
Well, that sounds like a fantastic idea. And Peter said, yeah, he could pass on some wisdom beyond anything. So.
Well, we'll be picking his brain. I've already told him and I'm sure Kendall, we're going to be picking his brain quite a bit. And, we go to events, we're planning on going to Digstock in October. Jim is actually going down to Digstock Mini, which is cool. I don't know. I got disconnected. I'm not sure. I don't know if he mentioned that or not. But I mean, we are going to be out and about, and we are going to be around, and we are going to be for ourselves, taking notes and seeing what works and what doesn't, and hopefully we can do something good for our community. It's not going to be large scale like that by any means, but hopefully we can do something and show our community that it's not just about going out and finding stuff and having a good time for ourselves. It's about bringing people together and sharing memories and maybe getting some kiddos and stuff into the hobby at a young age. So we have people that are going to, advocate over the years for the hobby for years to come.
That sounds fabulous. So keep us posted on that, and be glad to help pass along the information once y'all get that going. Do y'all have any idea about how many people you're thinking?
I mean, we're still figuring out those details with the landowner.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I don't want to give out false information.
No,
I just want people to know that we are trying to work on something of that scale, and it's going to be a trial run hunt for the first time, and if it works well, or if we can have more the next time, we're hoping to make it an annual thing, and using different locations and getting people a chance to come up and find some natural history of what was left behind from early New Englanders.
Right. Well, that sounds wonderful. Sounds like a great plan. Sounds like y'all got a lot going on this year as well. And before we hop off here, I know we've already lost a few people because there's another show that's already started. So tell us again where they can find All Metal Militia, and tell us more about your YouTube channel, anything like that you would like, so people can connect with y'all.
So, Facebook, All Metal Militia. It is a closed group. We try to make sure, that it's just metal detecting stuff and things like that. So we kind of keep it close. So, we'll allow anybody in if you just add yourself. So if you come on over and just being part of the page, you'll be able to enter any of the giveaways and things that we do along the way, and hopefully share some of your finds and knowledge with others that are in the hobby. We have an Instagram page. Our Facebook or our YouTube, where we're going to be putting copies. So when the next episodes come out from the TV station, once those edits and everything are done and they air locally, we get a copy of that, and we'll be putting it on our YouTube channel. It's all.metal.militia. Anybody can go there right now and see the pilot episode that we were able to put out. And I don't think I'm missing anything else. And of course, we all have our own YouTube channels and such. That you can just, contact us through All Metal Militia, and we'd be glad to share that content with you as well if you want to see us out on some digs and just being ourselves. I don't think I left anything out, Kendall or Jim, if you guys have anything.
No, I think you hit it all, Ed. All Metal Militia.
Yeah, that's where it's at.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, I'm sure that if they follow you on Facebook or in your group, that do y'all post your own videos on there as well?
No. We lead by example. We don't want to clog our there's a lot of Facebook groups and stuff out there, which is fine. It's not a bad thing, but we're trying to run a Facebook channel that's not clogged with just a billion videos, because it seems like people just don't want to see just videos, and so we don't even post our own stuff on our own page. So, and we have a list of rules and all that stuff, and there's just try to keep it simple.
All right. Well, great. Go ahead.
Sorry, Gypsy. I was going to say, if you go to the All Metal Militia page, we do have a pinned post where anyone is welcome to post their YouTube videos, anything else that they're doing. But in the main feed, we try to limit the videos because it can get a little bit clogged up. So if you hop onto All Metal Militia and go to that pinned post, there's tons and tons of comments for all the different folks who are making videos or selling products, etc. And you can see them there. But the rest of the feed is all just detecting finds, questions, answers, knowledge, and fun, and giveaways.
Sounds wonderful. Well,
someone might be lucky enough
to win one of your. What are y'all giving away now?
I was going to say, someone might be lucky enough to, maybe I'll do a quick giveaway here in the next couple of days, maybe a sticker or one of our lucky bracelets, the Defend History bracelets that people are pretty happy about. We have those, so
I just got my package. I'm wicked excited. So
it's going to bring you some good luck, Amanda.
Yeah. I shook it at the snow. It didn't listen to me, though.
Well, awesome. Thank you guys for being here. And hopefully we'll get to see y'all soon in the new year and get to dig with you. Thanks again, guys.
Sounds good.
Thank you for having us on. It definitely was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Kendall. Thank you, Ed. You all have a wonderful night.
You as well.
Good night, all.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, all. Thanks for joining, and you all have happy hunting this week. Good night, folks.